And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from, I believe it's Hades 7Ds, who asked the question, who won a fight, Ghidorah or Madara Uchiha from Naruto Shippuden? Now, for my money, I mean, there's no real big contest with a lot of the forms of Ghidorah in this. Madara obviously was one of the strongest ninja of his time, and even past his generation, as he ultimately was one of the main villains of the Fourth Great Shinobi War. He was considered a god among shinobi in many ways, wielding God-Ozami Fire Jutsu, his Genjutsu, which could affect, Tail Beast and humans, mastered combat, having access not just to a Sharingan, but his Mangekyo, an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which allowed him to summon Susanoo, a perfect Susanoo, which is a giant chakra monster capable of dismantling mountains with a single swipe of its blade, summoning giant meteors to obliterate the planet. And then, if we go into 6th stage Madara, was able to basically do all of that, plus have the Rinnegan, meaning he had access to all the Rinnegan paths, then create the infinite Tsukuyomi. Madara was just and I'm sugarcoating it, but that's sugarcoating. I'm being very brief about the description of what he can do, but still, he was an immensely powerful individual. Ghidorah's abilities vary from version to version, and we have to emphasize each version when we talk about it. So let's just go down the list, and let's just get the verses out of the way. Showa-era Ghidorah versus Madara. Now, Showa-era Ghidorah, surprisingly, is still very powerful, as it's said to have consumed and destroyed Mars on its way to Earth. Like, it absorbed enough energy from the sun that the sun dimmed for a bit. So, because Ghidorah, in theory, is a planet buster, at least in lore and in theory. But in terms of actual practice, I guess the term would be, in terms of what we actually see, Ghidorah probably would get taken out pretty easy. That Showa-era Ghidorah would probably get taken out pretty easy by Madara. Because just creating Susanoo alone gives him something that can fight on even size keel with a kaiju. And it being a pure chakra construct, meaning it's basically pure energy. So that's going to hurt a lot more when hitting Ghidorah than just a claw or something like that. Add on the fact he can summon a meteor down and just crush Ghidorah if he needs to, maybe him in mid-flight. I do think the Showa-era Ghidorah's feats aren't as great as what we see in later versions, so I would give that to Madara. Heisei-era Ghidorah, which includes Mecha Ghidorah, Standard Ghidorah, and not Kaiser Ghidorah, the one that Mothra fought, because Mothra fought Ghidorah, and that Ghidorah was actually a cool looking version of Ghidorah. It wasn't very drastically altered, but it was still a really cool version. Again, Heisei-era Standard Ghidorah is it's definitely more powerful than Showa era, but we don't see enough feats that really indicate how much more powerful, because we know Heisei Godzilla was stronger than Showa era Godzilla by a decent margin. Just from what we see him take and what we see him dish out. So I would say the standard version and Mecha Ghidorah would probably lose, because Mecha Ghidorah actually was weaker than standard Ghidorah, because the middle head was considered to be the central head. So because it had to be piloted, Mecha King Ghidorah was very much a problem in terms of how it functioned compared to the original Ghidorah. However, and I can't remember the name of this particular Ghidorah, but the Ghidorah in one of the Mothra movies, maybe it was Mothra Reborn, one of them, where it had to be armored Mothra that beat him. That Ghidorah had the ability to control minds, could regenerate from very Des Ghidorah. I think that was it. It was Des Ghidorah. But anyway, it had the power to control minds, absorb energy, and even regenerate from just its tail. That one Madara would actually have a difficult time with. Now that's assuming that Ghidorah can't be mind controlled with a Genjutsu. If Ghidorah could be mind controlled with a Genjutsu, then yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that any version of Ghidorah would fall victim to Madara. But the problem is you have 3 different heads with 3 different brains. So ultimately, if one gets caught in a Genjutsu, he'd have to catch all 3 in a Genjutsu. With Limbo clones, that might be possible, but the Limbo clones kind of exist within a separate plane of existence, so I don't know if we could count that towards using Genjutsu against Ghidorah. So otherwise, the question becomes, who can dish out more damage to the other and who can affect the other. I don't think mind control is going to work on Madara. I don't think it's going to work. And that's not to say that Madara is immune to being possessed. We see that Kaguya completely takes his body. But in terms of like just straight mind control, no. I don't think Ghidorah's mind control will work on Madara. He's too strong for that. That said, is Ghidorah's gravity beams, any of energy attack he throws, is that enough to kill Madara? I keep saying Madara, but I believe it's Madara. Madara. Yeah, if he got hit by like a point blank gravity beam, yeah, I think that'd kill him. But that's assuming he gets hit with a point blank gravity beam. Madara is a trained, seasoned vet of combat. He'd get out of the way long before he got hit by that. So the question is, does anything Madara throw at him kill him? He's got all the Rinnegan abilities. So he's got the Shinra Tensei, Basho Tenen. Honestly, he could probably just take out Ghidorah with a Chibaku Tensei. He could do that. Just seal him in a moon. Of course, it'd have to be a big moon, because I think Ghidorah, in most versions, is bigger than most of the tail beasts. We know Godzilla is honestly much larger than a lot of the tail beasts in most of his incarnations. Like, as big as incarnations, including Godzilla Earth, definitely bigger. The legendary version, pretty sure bigger. All the other ones, that might be a little hit and miss. But Ghidorah, who's almost always bigger than Godzilla, I think definitely outranks tail beast in size. So if he makes a Chibaku Tensei, he does have to make it really freaking big. So I will give Madara the win on that. Then you have Kaiser Ghidorah from the Millennium series. He was pretty much a meteor. Monster X he came out of Monster X, and he survived basically hitting the Earth as a meteor, and he could go toe to toe with Godzilla, who survived being hit in the face with a meteor. Ultimately, Godzilla had to get a power up and then to kill him, but ultimately did. And he could drain energy, but the problem would be catching Madara to do that. I don't think he can do that. I'm going to just sum this up real quick. Millennium Ghidorah, probably not, but he stands a better shot than the previous versions. Legendary Ghidorah is one. Legendary and Godzilla Earth Ghidorah. Those are the two we really need to talk about. Legendary's Ghidorah is so powerful that just by existing, just by flapping its wings and existing, it caused massive stage 5 hurricanes. Like, it literally was terraforming and causing torrential weather just by existing. Add on the fact it could absorb energy. It could tank nukes. It could tank an oxygen destroyer because of its alien physiology. Its regeneration was off the charts, as it could just regrow a head back after losing the head. It was a severely overpowered creature. And it's, I think, besides Godzilla Earth, is the biggest version of Ghidorah there is. So the question is Madara capable of beating this thing? Well, he's going to be having to not only tackle Ghidorah, the weather Ghidorah is creating. So he's got to be fighting in hostile conditions. He's been in war before, sure, but it's basically a creature terraforming the Earth. The gravity beams, he's still got to avoid those, and he could probably avoid it. He can avoid near, if not light speed attacks. Again, it comes down to, can he take control of Ghidorah? And in this case, yeah, I actually think this version of Ghidorah he could control, because the Orca system, while not controlling Ghidorah, did kind of have an effect on Ghidorah. So I imagine like a true Genjutsu could do that too. But again, you just get to the whole Chibaku Tensei argument that he could just ultimately do that. I would imagine Susanoo he could in theory use, but it's actually the reason why I think Kaiser Ghidorah might be able to beat him too, but because the Susanoo is nothing more than pure energy. It's chakra, it's energy. Ghidorah could just absorb that and just fuel himself. Same thing could happen here. So Susanoo is actually not a good move against Ghidorah. Fire type jutsu isn't going to do much. So he's actually got to rely on some of his other things, the meteors from his Mangekyo, his Rinnegan abilities, truth-seeking orbs if we go in the Six Paths version of Madara. So as we scale up Ghidorah, it gets more difficult. I will say this one is a lot closer. I will still tentatively give it to Madara, but this one's a lot closer than a lot of the other ones. And then finally, Madara versus Ghidorah from Godzilla Earth. So obviously, Ghidorah is anchored by someone who has a special charm. Destroyed the charm. He's now bound by the laws of the world he's in, so he's no longer intangible, blah, 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 blah. If we're dealing with Ghidorah at his full power, full capabilities, I'm not certain there's a damn thing Madara could do, because this is an interdimensional dragon that basically phases through, sucks out energy. Has no mass or form, bends space and time again by existing. I don't know if Ghidorah can, or Madara can do jack against this version of Ghidorah. I really don't. I mean, just going down everything that Madara has. Again, Susanoo, bad idea. He's just going to absorb the chakra. Any attack, theoretically, any standard attack is just going to go right through Ghidorah. Genjutsu, maybe, but he'd have to get it in the eye, and even then, this is an interdimensional. This isn't even an interdimensional. This is like being that exists in that space between dimensions. So I don't know if Madara has the stuff to take this thing down. Chibaku Tensei even wouldn't work, because Ghidorah warps gravity as a whole, and he just phased through all the debris and rubble that would make the meteor, so the moon. So in this case, no. Ghidorah from Godzilla Earth beats Madara, certainly, at full power. Take away the ability to be intangible and have to be susceptible to the laws of the reality he's in. He's still extremely durable. It still took Godzilla, of all things, to put him down and just send him back to his dimension. And as far as we know, he did not kill Ghidorah. He just sent Ghidorah packing. That's all he did. So the question I didn't have to ask yourself is, could Madara beat Godzilla Earth? So if he's stronger than Godzilla Earth, then there's an argument to be made that he could beat Ghidorah. I don't know if he's stronger than Godzilla Earth, though. I really don't. Godzilla already has that natural force field around him. Madara, I don't know, could get through that. I doubt he could put him into a genjutsu of any kind because of that field, too. Anything he throws at, even a meteor, Godzilla can just blow that thing up. Try to seal Godzilla away. Godzilla just, again, he's pretty much part of the world. He's pretty much fused with the world now. So I don't think Madara could beat Godzilla. I don't think he has the firepower for it. And by that logic, I don't think he has the firepower for anime Ghidorah either. So anime Ghidorah is the only one I think is the one who gets the majority wins, who will win most of the time. I'll say that Legendary probably stands the best shot along with Heisei after that. Kaiser Ghidorah after that. Heisei can absorb energy too, but not to the same extent as the other ones could. Heisei probably wouldn't be able to. Though the Mothra version, the one he fought with Mothra, that one might be a problem. I'd say it's about 50-50 with Madara generally taking the wins. But I think there's a couple versions of Ghidorah that not only could get him a good fight and a run for his money, but could beat him straight out. So I will go Madara, but there's a couple versions of Ghidorah I would put my money on if they fought him. Ultimately, though, that's just my opinion. What do you think? Put it in the comments below. Let me know. But if you want us to review something, put in the comments below as well. Let me know. I'll do a review of it at some point. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell if you want notifications. Ideas for who would win Star Wars, Super, Magic, What If, anything you do in the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get that at some point. So thanks for watching, and I got a What If, and I'm done for the day. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later.